Oh wait, we wanted to cover that up. Hello, this is Miss Hall,
And Miss Nelson.
and we have your notes on your fraction decimal notes. So the benefit of the video is you can go at your own pace, you can pause it as you fill in the notes, and you can go back and rewatch certain parts if you didn't understand it. So we are going to start with definitions. A decimal whose digits repeat in groups of one or more are called repeating decimals. Repeating decimals can be represented by bar notation. In a bar notation, a bar is drawn over the digit or digits that repeat. And so there's an example there. When you see the pattern of the repeat, that is the part that the bar notation goes over. If a decimal stops and does not repeat, it is called a terminating decimal. So if you do not have a remainder, if your decimal divides out evenly, then it is a terminating decimal.
All right, now we're going to talk about converting from a fraction to a decimal. Our decimal system is based on powers of 10, so 10, 100, and 1,000. If the denominator, which is the bottom number of your fraction, is a power of 10, you can just use place value to write the fraction as a decimal. So in these example in our charts, we have 7/10. We know that because this is tenths, we can write 7 over 10, and whenever we convert that, since this is in the tens place, right here I put my 7 in the tens place as a decimal. So if we have 19 hundredths in a fraction, it would be 19 over 100, and all we would have to do is take our 19 and put 0.19 because that 9 is in the hundredths place. And lastly, 105 thousandths. So we put 105 on top over 1,000 because it says thousandths. And as your decimal, you're going to put 0.105. Again, your 5 is in your thousandths place. If the denominator is a fraction that is not a power of 10, then you need to apply the I do to find the decimal. I do simply means inside divided by the outside number. And to do this, you can write it vertically. You can also write it horizontally if it was 3 divided by 8. I do also works that way. All you do is take the top number, plug it inside the house. Your division sign is here, and the outside number goes on the outside of the house.
So express each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So again, the I do method, inside, outside. Top goes inside your house, bottom goes outside the house. So 10 will not go into 3 at all, so we have to put our decimal. Remember, as soon as you put your decimal and add a 0, go ahead and put the decimal up on the outside of the house, so you don't forget that that's where the decimal goes. Now, how many times does 10 go into 30? 3. It goes evenly, so it is a terminating decimal. So now we have a -6, 1 1/2. So we know the whole number already. We don't have to do anything with that. We're just going to write that down. Don't forget your negative. Now we're going to do the fraction part. Remember our I do, inside, outside. 2 cannot go into 1, so we're going to add our decimal and a 0. Remember to add our decimal up on top. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. So it goes evenly. So our answer is 6.5, -6.5. And I like to usually box my answers so I know for sure where my answer is. Now we're going to express each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. Use bar notation if needed. So we have -1 over 11. So I'm going to do inside, outside. So my 1 goes inside, my 11 goes outside. Again, I want to put my negative up here because I have this negative here. I want to make sure I don't forget it. Now, 11 will not go into 1, so I need to add a 0. Go ahead and put my 0 up top to hold my decimal place. Then 11 will not go into 10, so I'm going to put another 0, but I have to mark that place up here in my answer. So now, well, how many times does 11 go into 10? It goes 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 1 is 9. So I have 99. 100 minus 99 is 1. I'm going to bring another 0 down. 11 will not go into 10, so I'm going to hold my place up there. Bring yet another 0 down. 11 goes into 100 9 times. Do we see a pattern? Our pattern is 0909. So where does the bar notation go? The bar notation goes only over the 09. So my answer is negative 0.09 repeating. Bar notation goes over both the 0 and the 9. Okay, so now I have 8 1/3. So we know 8 is our whole number. We can go ahead and write that in our answer. And then we're going to use our I do. So 1 goes inside, 3 goes outside. 3 will not go into 1. I'm going to put my decimal and add a 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. We're going to add a 0, bring that down. 3 goes into 10 3 times. We already see a pattern. So the 3 is repeating, so our answer is 8.3 repeating.
Okay, so in order to write a decimal as fraction, every terminating decimal can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 10, 100, 1,000, or greater power of 10. In other words, numbers behind the decimal go onto the numerator. Then you look at the last digit to figure out what your denominator needs to be, and you always need to simplify.
Determine the fraction of the aquarium made up by each fish. Express the fraction in simplest forms. So we only have to look at Molly and Guppy. So let's look at Molly. Molly is 0.2. We want to write it as a fraction. So we would read this as 2 tenths. This 2 is in the tenths place. So we're just going to do 2 over 10. That's all we do. The only thing we have left to do is simplify. We know 2 goes into both 2 and 10, so our most simplified form is 1/5. Okay, now we have Guppy, so let's look over of Guppy. So we have 25 hundredths. So we're going to write that 25 over 100. This is a fraction that you should be familiar with, and a decimal that you should be familiar with. Whenever possible, I like to think in terms of money. And we know that 25 cents is a quarter, right? A quarter is 25 cents. That's a quarter of a dollar. So we know our fraction before we even do the math is going to be 1/4. But let's go ahead and do it. We're going to imply in the I do. So we have inside 25, outside 100. That does not go evenly. 100 goes into 250 twice. 50 remaining. Oh, I'm finding the decimal. It's asking for the fraction. I didn't read my problem. Let's simplify that. 25 goes into both 25 and 100. So it goes into 25 once, 100 4 times. See, even I don't always read my question. Sorry, guys. Ignore this. Miss Nelson's laughing at me, but that's okay. It's early.
We make mistakes all the time. All right, in our last problem, Jorge reads that 0.72, his favorite cereal, was whole grain. Determine what fraction of his cereal is whole grain wheat expressed in simplest form. So I know I'm going in simplest form. That's important. This is the decimal that I'm putting into a fraction. If I read that, that is 72 hundredths. My 2 is in the hundredths place. So when I write it, that's exactly what I'm going to write, 72 hundredths. I need to simplify this. So if you don't know your higher multiplication facts, choose something simple that you know can go into it. I know that 2 goes into both of these. 75 divided by 2 is 36. 100 divided by 2 is 50. So now I look at this. I know that since these are both even numbers, they can be divided by 2 again. And we get 18 over 25. Now 18 and 25 do not have anything in common, therefore that is going to be our final answer. So we hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Make sure if you have any questions that you come prepared to class the next day so that you can ask your questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.